Greetings, mind crafters, and welcome to another, I hope to be exciting conversation today, another mind craft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am really excited to have this chat today about, the whole foundation of Minecraft, right, is becoming the boss of your brain, becoming the boss of your brain. It's just so important because when it comes down to it, right, there are only two options. We can control our own thoughts, or we can allow our thoughts to control us. And so, which is more pleasant? I would say controlling our own thoughts. And so today what I really want to talk about is investing in yourself. And this is such a taboo thing, like, oh, she's so selfish, she's so full of herself, blah, 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 blah. And because we do invest in ourselves, we invest in our future. Plus, we can, on just a plain old well-being level, we cannot give what we do not have. When the well is dry, we got nothing for us or anybody else. So look at it that way. So, yeah, I made some notes. My inspiration for today was my new friend, Joe Dispenza. He just entered my friends group. Of course, Oprah's my bestie there, but some more great thinkers. So one of the first things he talks about, in order to invest in ourselves, top of the list, and he is preaching to the choir with me, is to disconnect from our outer world. So that the number one with that is to turn off technology, unless you're watching Minecraft. No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not the kidding. Turn off technology. Get rid of your phone. Like, euthanize that thing. Unplug the drug. Throw it in a sock drawer. Because to not turn it off and leave it there face down. Simon Sinek does a lot with that stuff. That's not any less rude than sitting up, and it's just a distracting because you know that it could ring or buzz or blip or whatever at any moment. Completely euthanize it. Shut it off and put it someplace. Preferably way out of the way. And then, so that's part of how we can disconnect from our outer world. But we also have, when we go within, we're trying to, really connect with our real self, our authentic self. And as much as we love everybody in our lives, our authentic self is actually free from the roles. It doesn't mean we're free from the loving connections. That's not the same. We still love everybody as a parent, as a partner, as a sibling, as a son or daughter, whatever. However, when we go within to really, really detach from the outer world, we can detach from the roles attached to those relationships, if that's making sense. Okay, we still love everybody just as much, but for that moment, or let's say that 15 minutes, we can just in our Zen state, right, our alpha state, that's what we're, striving for, is to temporarily detach from, being a parent, a partner, a sibling, a bestie, an employee, or whatever, because we are just who we are as our authentic self while we're detaching from all this outer world environmental stuff. Okay, if you can do it for 15 minutes, that's great. If you can do it for half an hour, even better. I know Joe D sets aside big time in the morning, like lots of time. He says he doesn't use it all, but he tries to set aside a couple of hours. I mean, good for him. We, however, have the bar set it. If you can do it for any minutes, like my oldest son says, with fitness or anything, any minutes are better than no minutes, right? But if you can strive for 15, you're gonna see some pretty significant changes in your life, which is awesome. Okay, so then we're going within, right? We've unplugged the technology. We are temporarily just also disconnecting from all the roles in our lives, hanging on to the love, just disconnecting from the roles, all those kind of worldly attachments. And then we want to really center ourselves with some deep, deep breathing. Breathing is important for the obvious. I think we all know that, right? And then to breathe deeply actually has a neurological reset. It allows for by breathing deeply like this, the neurological reset that the brain is bringing the mind out of the future. It might even be just tonight, what I'm making for dinner. It doesn't have to be 10 years from now, right? Bring it back into the right now minutes, life minutes right here, or out of the past. So that deep breathing is enormously important. I say to my Minecrafters frequently, even just when I'm walking into campus, that's something that I do. If my mind is fast, it doesn't mean it's negatively fast. It doesn't mean it's what if, and oh no, and all that. It means sometimes I'm just really pumped and excited. And so I'll pick 50 feet away, like a tree or a parked car or something, and I'll just say, from here to that tree, from here to that stop sign, because it's blocks, right? I just And that is 50 feet of bliss, let me tell you that. So we're going to do this. So we're detaching from the tech, detaching from the roles, and then we're going to center ourselves with breathing. If by some chance, because the mind is constantly like the ocean with waves, right? John Kabat-Zinn says that. So the only thing we can do, since the waves aren't going to stop with the thoughts, right, is to learn to surf. So you get an anxious thought, we just acknowledge it. Okay, apparently I'm a little nervous today. Okay, reel your mind back in, breathe deeply, or if it's like a self-deprecating thought, okay, all right, apparently I'm having just like some low feelings right now, some low vibe feelings, and then reel yourself back in, breathing deeply, because we know that the mind is wired to wander. And as a card-carrying member of the Fast Mind Club, some of our minds are wired to wander a little more. Just saying. Okay, and then next, third, we want to say, really contemplate in this deep, in a feeling sense, what. Because we're talking about investing in ourselves, right? Investing in ourselves, invest in our future life minutes. So what do I want for my life? What is my next move? And Oprah, my good friend Oprah, so hoping to meet her someday. She's just the best. She's just made such a difference in my life and so many lives across the world. I absolutely love her. She's a bundle of love. What is my next move? So she talks a lot about this. In order to know what our next move is, what our authentic purpose, right? We might be in our authentic purpose now, and that's fluid, right? Because we're fluid. We're constantly changing, constantly growing and evolving. So even though we're on track, we might be like, okay, this calling was good there, or this relationship or whatever. Now I'm just ready for it. Doesn't even mean we're getting rid of the relationship or the career or calling. It means we might be needing to just make some changes. Maybe I want to have a different role there. Maybe I want to amp up the relationship. Maybe I want to travel with my partner, whatever. But to really just sit with that and allow it to come to you, because Oprah says that a lot. We need, and I've been saying it forever too, we need to listen to the inner voice. We talk a lot about putting it out there to the universe, putting out there, or higher power or God, or however you want to call it. For me, it's God. You can say universe, higher power, I don't know. But the inner voice talking is God, higher power, the universe talking back. So we got to listen. It doesn't help to put it all out there and then put earphones on. Yeah, like it doesn't help. Okay, so we want to sit in quiet. This is so it's at this moment when we can kind of really break free from the past and the future. And we are so easily pulled in. We're easily pulled in because the brain loves patterns. The brain loves patterns so much, and repetition. So this can work in our favor or not so much. So we're often brought back to the past because it's so familiar. So it's just like our default, right? It's our default. We just allow ourselves, especially when we're hungry, angry, sick, or tired, and we're not actively engaged in our lives, because autopilot, remember, is the biggest thief of life minutes there could possibly be. So we get pulled into the past. Remember that the brain kind of wants to satisfy us, whatever we're looking for. There's a little duality there. So then when the brain finds it, okay, there's the what-if thought, there's the catastrophizing thought, there's the self-deprecating thought, it's becoming reinforced again. So when we allow ourselves to get just passively pulled into that, we're actually strengthening it. And the memories are attached to emotions. We're going to feel the way we felt in, 2015, the same as we did then if we're bringing it back now. So we want to not do that. And we also want to not get dragged into the very, kind of predictable future, because, remember, 95-ish% of what we think, feel, and do every day is the same as it was yesterday. I think it's after about the age of 35. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it's what we kind of get locked into, that unconscious programming. And so we got to, in order to break free of that, we've got to first become aware of it and then talk back to it. Okay. So then this is, once we clear out the crap, all right, which is all the negative emotions from the past, all the anger, fear, resentment, regret, guilt, blah, shame, blame, all of it. Then we're ready to rewire. We're really ready to rewire and reprogram the brain with new thoughts, thinking about what our future is. So in order to do that, okay, we got talking back to the thoughts, and we're talking about a work in progress. You're not waiting for the whole brain attic to be completely empty. You're working at it, okay? You got, just like spring cleaning, you got rid of this box, you gave that to a thrift store, you got a whole box for a yard sale, you're getting rid of it, okay? As we're getting rid of most of it, we can start to enter into some new thought patterns. In order to do that, we got to train the mind, which then trains the body. And the body has an intelligence of its own. So we've got, just like a 2-year-old, we've got to teach the brain, which then teaches the mind, and feel this emotion. Eyes closed, preferably, because then you're stopping any more stimuli from coming in, which takes away from what you're trying to do, right? So make sure you're sitting someplace quiet, very, very, very quiet. Have as few distractions as possible, preferably none. If you can be out in nature and just sitting there, or find a quiet space in your apartment or house, and then actually close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel the emotion of what it is you're striving for, okay? Feel that emotion of after you've landed the promotion, landed the new job. We're not looking for context. We're not picturing all that. We're just looking for the feeling of, and just that you feel relieved now, you feel excited, you feel joy, okay, or the relationship or whatever. Feel the emotions along with this new thought pattern as if it's already happened. Remember, you're not surprised, actually living in it, If it's financial wealth, I think I made a note about this someplace. I did. Okay, sitting and breathing. You're training the body for your big next move, okay? Because the body takes on a mind of its own, has its own intelligence, which Joe Dispenza will say that's really the essence of addiction. Like when we're trying to medicate with substances or behaviors or whatever, and emotions. We get addicted to emotions too. He's huge on that. So the mind is like saying, like, let's just say it's alcohol. Okay, I got this. I got this now. I don't need you to remind me anymore. I get it. We're anxious. We're stressed. And that's what we do to bring ourselves down and grounded. Yeah, I don't need you to tell me that anymore. I got it. That's what happens. And again, with emotions, same thing. So we actually have to rehearse in our mind. We have to feel the feeling of the emotion. The mind will train the body, and rehearse in our mind who you want to be when you open your eyes. That's big, okay? So, and you also want to explore your explanatory style. Who do I want to say to give credit? Carol Dweck talks about this. Loretta LaRoche, I love her. She's a comedian from decades ago. I love her. Oh my God, she's hysterical. So if your explanatory style is like you're a whiner, you're a complainer, you're a negative Nelly, you're really into allowing is the word, like the germ wheel of negative self-talk to roll around. You feel sorry for yourself. You're an excuse maker. And I'm not saying with judgment. I'm saying it as a suggestion, okay, to become aware of that stuff, because you've got to stop that. Just stop. In order for the new pattern to take hold, okay, the new pattern to take hold. It can't do that if you're allowing all that, almost like static in between radio stations. Like if you're allowing all that static to go on in your head, there's no room for the new stuff. There's just no room for the new stuff. Got to clear out that brain attic. And so that is really, really it, okay? To invest in ourselves, to go within, to win from within, we've got to find a place to get quiet where we can contemplate our next move, mostly just breathe, right? Breathe. Allow the thoughts to roll through, acknowledge, and then reel yourself back in. Deep breathing. Feel the emotion of what your next move is, okay? Stay with it. And then visualize who you want to come out of that when you open your eyes. Your confident, your best confident self, your wealthy self, and your wealthy self. Actually, this is a good example, and then we'll hang up in a minute. So if you're picturing a financially wealthy self, not even just finances, all the other stuff that goes along with wealth and health and the other ways to have, maybe a bigger living space, different living space, whatever. You've got to step out of the scarcity thinking, because all that lack is going to attract more lack. So wealth of any kind, because we've defined wealth differently. It can be money, of course, it can be just all kinds of different things. And it can be a wealth of family, it can be a wealth of health, it can be a wealth of all those things. Still, the opposite of wealth, no matter how you fill in the blank with that, is scarcity. Okay, it can be a scarcity of money, it can be a scarcity of self-esteem, a scarcity of love, a scarcity of time, it can be a scarcity of whatever. When those thoughts start up, you've got to like smack them. Like, no. Remember the 17-second rule. When those scarcity thoughts or whatever thoughts you don't want, those patterns go longer than 17 seconds, it takes longer to get rid of them. Also, if you've been allowing it for years and years and years, realize that they're not going to go away in a week. You just got to stay with it, because with each, not even just day, each minute, each hour that you're able to become aware and kick those thoughts out the door of your mind, you just give yourself a big, way to go, because you're on your way. Kind of like playing the guitar. First you get calluses, and then you're like, ooh, this is new and it's hard and I don't know if I like it and it takes a long time and it's a lot of work. Eventually the calluses go away and you're playing Margaritaville, in the living room, entertain your family. Things get easier. Whatever we practice, we get better at, and things get easier. So by investing in yourself, by going within, you are investing in your future life minutes and living your very best life. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my living room in Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.